Hi, I'm Jesse Rosen, President of the League of American Orchestras. Last week, a number of you may have seen an AP story that was picked up by quite a few American papers. I want to read you just the first line. Billions of dollars in arts funding is serving a mostly wealthy white audience that is shrinking, while only a small chunk of money goes to emerging art groups that serve poorer communities that are more ethnically diverse, according to a report being released Monday. So, first of all, the League has been for, I think, 6 years now, at least, since our strategic plan. If you go back even further to Americanizing the American Orchestra in 1992, we've been talking with you, our members, and our other stakeholders about the importance of diversity, of community engagement, and this matters a great deal to us, and we really support it and endorse it. And at the same time, we also need to make sure that the full, complete story of America's orchestras is actually told. And often it isn't, because our press tends to represent us through the concerts that we give in our main subscription series. So we were concerned by the report that led to this headline. And we were concerned because fundamentally what it suggested was that the interests of our large legacy organizations and the interests of our smaller, more culturally specific organizations are divergent, and in fact suggested that the remedy to this divergence is for funders to shift funding from the large institutions to the small institutions. This report was given at a conference of the grant makers in the arts, and of course it led to this AP headline which circulated all over the United States. So we felt we needed to respond. And this has taken the form, first of all, I was on the radio earlier this week on WQXR talking with an executive from the commissioning organization and to some degree debating some of the facts and figures that are associated with this. And I think the first thing that we need to affirm and assert in terms of who we are and who we serve, American orchestra audiences, according to the National Endowment's SPPA report from 2008, 45% of our audience earns less than $75,000 a year. So the wealthy notion simply doesn't apply. In fact, if you would even look at, if you use 100,000 as a barometer, 66% of our audience earns under $100,000 a year. So it would strike me that if anything, we are serving middle-class audiences predominantly, not wealthy audiences. A second thing that everyone should know is that the activity of orchestras is, of course, way greater in scope than simply our subscription series. And again, even with the SPPA report, which its own creators at the NEA acknowledge that as a longitudinal survey, it goes back to the 1980s when measuring butts and seats was really what mattered. We know over the last 30 years that the arts have changed in how they deliver, what they have to offer, and how audiences take it up. And so what's missed by the SPPA is all of the activity undertaken by orchestras that is not manifested in symphony concerts on stage. So, for example, of the 32,000 performances given by America's orchestras, 60% of those are education and community engagement activities, which would not surface in the SPPA report. So, this is not to let us off the hook. Orchestras have a long way to go in diversity and community engagement, but let's not ignore the reality that we have been on that journey and we're making some really terrific progress. And finally, the success of orchestras' activity in these areas often is dependent on the synergistic relationships that develop between orchestras and those very small culturally specific organizations in their community. So again, we have a shared stake and interest in being very well aligned with the entire arts sector, whether it be grand opera, large museums, or a neighborhood culturally specific organization. We're all in this together, but we thought it would be important for everyone to know some of the untold story of the ways orchestras are in fact engaged with their publics and who's coming to concerts and how we participate in community. Thanks so much.